What up guys, Frazier here for Complex News. When Meek Mill was granted an early release on bail by a Pennsylvania Supreme Court in late April, the rap world rejoiced. Fans and supporters everywhere welcomed the news shortly after Philadelphia native Kevin Hart made the announcement that Meek was finally free. But Meek's troubles with the criminal justice system began way before then. In early November, Meek was sentenced to 2 to 4 years in prison for violating his probation. He pleaded to have his conviction overturned, but was consistently denied thanks to Judge Janice Brinkley, the primary adjudicator for Meek's cases. Brinkley had grown tired of the Philly native's so-called antics and decided it was time to crack down on him. Word of Meek's legal woes spread, and suddenly the rapper found that he had support all over. Hip-hop's heaviest hitters from Jay-Z and Beyonce to label boss Rick Ross voiced their support for Meek. Even Drake put their beef aside to voice his support. Hundreds of people took to the Philly streets in November to protest Meek's incarceration. The rapper even had Patriots owner Robert Kraft visiting him while he was in prison. This whole situation seems to have given Meek new perspective on the plight of millions affected by the criminal justice system. In April, the rapper gave a rare interview to Page 6 about his feelings of anger for being behind bars. "I'm a political prisoner. Yes, I'm frustrated there's no way in a million years I could get a fair trial in front of this judge. Yeah, I'm angry, but I'm a prisoner of politics. Me being in this situation has brought light to the people who are serving time because of other corrupt cops." So let's look at all of the events that led up to Meek's incarceration and how he was ultimately released. In January 2007, Meek Mill is accused of selling crack. Before Meek was lighting up stages, he was frequently in trouble with law enforcement. Reggie Graham, a member of Philadelphia's narcotics field unit, claimed he saw Meek selling crack cocaine. Even though Meek and his family members have denied the accusation, the unit obtained a warrant to search his house, which led to a violent confrontation. Meek was arrested outside of his house, and his head was reportedly used to burst open the door, where the unit uncovered $30,000 that belonged to Meek's cousin, a weed dealer. As a result, the Philly native is sentenced to spend several months in prison. August 2008, Meek Mill is arrested on gun charges. In 2008, Meek was arrested and charged with illegal possession of a firearm and drug possession after cops discovered a gun while he was on his way to a corner store. But that's not all. The police allegedly beat down Meek, giving him a concussion and ripping out one of his braids. To add insult to injury, the officers claimed he tried to shoot and murder them during all of this. Ultimately, Meek faced 19 counts and was found guilty of 7 charges by Judge Janice Brinkley. Meek caught 2 years in prison, but he was released on parole and served 5 months. October 2012, Meek is arrested for alleged marijuana use. In what's been dubbed Meek's Halloween arrest, he was pulled over and arrested by officers who believed they could smell the marijuana emanating from his car. Meek claims he was arrested for not allowing the police to search his car, which they impounded and held the rapper overnight. Even though Meek was released the following day, the arrest wasn't his biggest loss. Meek was headed to the airport prior to the arrest to perform in Atlanta. He ended up missing the performance, which lost him thousands of dollars. Puma also reduced the amount of money of his endorsement deal because of the arrest. November 2012, Judge orders Meek to stop touring. Judge Brinkley charged Meek with violating his parole and orders 2 drug tests, according to Rolling Stone. Even though both tests showed no evidence of drug use, the judge orders the rapper from touring and places him on restricted travel. December 2012, Meek banned from traveling, violated parole. After the judge ordered Meek to chill with scheduling performances back in November, she ruled that he violated the terms of his probation and ordered him to stay in Philadelphia for the holiday season. Meek lost out on the opportunity to go nationwide with his music. The judge and Meek would begin to go at one another from here on out. June 2013, Meek Mill's Etiquette classes. Can you imagine Meek in etiquette classes? Neither can we, but in June 2013, that's what Judge Brinkley decided would be best for Meek Mill after his remarks on social media caused a mob of Dream Chasers fans to send threats to his parole officer. Brinkley said the etiquette classes were more important than any concert he might have, according to NBC Philadelphia. July 2014, Meek sentenced to 3 to 6 months in prison. Meek found himself before Brinkley once again in violation of his probation rules for failing to get permission to book concerts outside of Philly. But that's not all. The judge also took note of his failure to provide his probation officer with a working phone number, calling out his probation officer and the prosecutor assigned to his case on Twitter, his bad behavior toward probation staffers, and the fact that he posed for a picture on Instagram holding a gun. After all these years of me trying to help him move his career forward, I believe he is thumbing his nose at me and the probation office. Sir, I really didn't want to do this, but you made me do it. He was sentenced to 3 to 6 months in prison, and he was released from prison in December 2014 and placed on parole. December 2015, Meek continues to violate parole. Come December 2015, Meek and Brinkley face off once again. Why? You guessed it. Meek was found guilty of violating his parole once again for failure to report his travels to the judge. He was completely banned from all performances until February 2016. According to XXL, Brinkley said, "I bent over backward to give him every opportunity to grow his career." February 2016, Meek is sentenced to house arrest and community service. When it was time for the hearing, Meek avoided prison this time and was sentenced to 90 days of house arrest, where the rapper was forced to wear an ankle monitor and participate in community service. Oh, and there was definitely no leaving Philly for any performances this time. March 2017, Meek fights at a St. Louis airport, charged with misdemeanor assault. Trouble just sort of seems to follow Meek around at this point. An overzealous airport employee at a St. Louis airport tried to take a picture with Meek, to which the rapper refused. After a fight broke out, police arrested Meek and 2 airport employees. Meek was charged with a misdemeanor assault and given a court summons, but the entire case was thrown out in October. August 2017, Meek's reckless endangerment while popping wheelies for the gram. Meek, a man of the people, stopped to ask a group of kids riding dirt bikes what they were up to and then asked if he could ride one. The kids complied, probably in shock that Meek was asking. But in the age of social media, Meek found himself in trouble once again. After clips of the rapper popping wheelies on the bike went viral, the NYPD saw the videos and charged Meek with a felony count of reckless endangerment as he was not wearing a helmet while riding the bike. The felony charge was ultimately dismissed. November 6, 2017, Meek heads to prison for violating parole. During a parole hearing stemming from his numerous run-ins with the law, Meek was sentenced to 2 to 4 years in prison for violating his parole multiple times. "I gave you break after break and you basically just thumb your nose at this court," Brinkley said, ordering him to be taken into custody as soon as possible. April 2018, Meek Mill is granted bail and early release. In late April, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ordered a lower court to grant Meek an early release on bail. Kevin Hart and 76ers co-owner Michael Rubin shared the news on their social media accounts when it happened. Meek was very appreciative after it all went down. "I'd like to thank God, my family, and all my public advocates for their love, support, and encouragement during this difficult time. While the past 5 months have been a nightmare, the prayers, visits, calls, letters, and rallies have helped me stay positive. To the Philly District Attorney's Office, I'm grateful for your commitment to justice. I understand that many people of color across the country don't have that luxury, and I plan to use my platform to shine a light on those issues." On June 18th, Meek's appeal before Judge Brinkley did not result in the outcome he and his legal team were hoping for. Instead of the case being thrown out, Brinkley said she needs more time to review information regarding the aforementioned corrupt police officer. So, it's not the worst outcome. Meek isn't being sent back in, but it's yet another delay. We'll continue to provide updates on Meek's case as they become available here in Complex News. For Complex, I'm Frazier.